Christine Vachon, we have the Oscars coming up on Sunday, and you have a vested interest in this race because the film you produced, Still Alice, starring Julianne Moore, has a nomination for her performance in the lead. How much does a nomination and a win mean to an independent film like yours?
Well, of course, we all say it's an honor to be nominated, but of course it is. I mean, especially for a relatively small film like Still Alice, a nomination means the world. If she actually manages to take home that statue, it'll be fantastic.
How hard is it for an independent film like Still Alice to compete with the tentpole movies Hollywood is putting out? It's hard to get that shelf space, isn't it?
It is, but I think in some ways it's like we can't compete. There's just no way. So what it's really about is independent films have to figure out how to distinguish themselves, and I think that's really about originality. I mean, I feel like the independent films that really hit it out of the park are the ones that feel like true original voices.
What do you think about the tentpole strategy Hollywood is pursuing right now? In a certain way, it's almost like the too big to fail movies, like the too big to fail banks here on Wall Street.
Well, I mean, what's really suffering are those smaller adult-driven, character-driven movies that used to be the ones that won all the Oscars. I mean, when you see what's up for the awards right now, it's for the most part, it's smaller movies like Boyhood, like Whiplash. And I think that's because audiences, they want an alternative, and the studios aren't making them so much anymore.
But meanwhile, it's hard for those smaller films to get distribution. One way they're doing it is through Netflix and iTunes. So tell me about how you're adapting to this new technological model and getting your films distributed. If it's not going to be in a theater, it's going to go on someone's mobile phone.
Well, I think that we have to really start re-examining what makes a movie theatrical, first of all. Like, what makes you actually say, I'm going to leave my home and spend, whatever on the babysitter to go see a movie. But I think we also have to start validating the different ways in which you can see movies or stories. In fact, I'm starting to say we should stop calling ourselves filmmakers and start calling ourselves storytellers. Because there's so many different kinds of platforms. Why not embrace that? And just because a movie isn't necessarily geared for theatrical success, it doesn't mean that it isn't a great story that people want to see.
And this is filtering all the way down from Hollywood to film schools, because you run a program with Stony Brook, Southampton, where you're developing filmmakers and producers. How are you addressing these changes through that program?
Well, the program kind of grew out of the fact that I had taught at quite a few film schools, both on the graduate and undergraduate level. And what I was seeing was that students were not being prepared for this new world. They weren't being prepared to come out into a place where you sort of have to, reinvent yourself constantly and be an artist and an entrepreneur. So we decided to take the old model and try and make it as based in reality as we possibly could, and also do something affordable. I mean, our MFA at Stony Brook is an affordable MFA, and we would like our students to come out, be able to work in film if they want to, and not be in crushing debt. The other great thing about our program, I think, is how hands-on it is, and at least 3 of our students got to work on Still Alice, for example, so they can say hopefully they can say they worked on an Oscar-winning movie.
All right, and then finally, thanks for the segue. Does Julianne win?
I take nothing for granted. I think she so deserves it. Her performance in Still Alice is towering, but her performance in everything she does is extraordinary. But, I'm not really going to relax until, midnight on Sunday.
All right, well, good luck this weekend.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on.
My pleasure.
Thank you for watching The Street.